Hello everyone! It is Saturday, February 21st, in the year of our Lord 2015. How are all you doing out there? I am doing awesome as always. Wicked awesome. It's Cinema Saturday, and normally I would try to wear the attire for tonight's special feature, and it's a great one. The Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption, an amazing movie from 1994, from the great novel Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. That's right, Stephen King. Well, one of the novel was actually a short story, but phenomenal movie, phenomenal book. I've read it, and I've watched the movie, of course. And just checking something. So there's a bunch of countries that the Shawshank Redemption score has been blocked in. Austria, Belgium, Chile, Colombia, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Malaysia, Norway, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Sweden, and Switzerland, Thailand, Venezuela. Sorry. Anyway, let's hope it doesn't affect anything here, otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble. Today's unofficial sponsors of our show, how about Philo Liquors? I know we mention them a lot. Well, that's because I love them so much. They always give us great beer, adult beverages. Philo Liquors, fantastic selection by a fantastic staff. Of course, Chris and his better half, Stephanie May, their wonderful son, Nick, and then the amazing Jim Cockfield, and then Kelly and Dave, an incredible staff and ownership that works over at Philo Liquors right down here in Abilene, Yeehaw, Texas, otherwise known as Southern Oklahoma. Pretty much the same damn state. Gotta give it up to my girl, Crystal Lloyd of Crystal Addiction. She's a 50 style pinup model. She's a published poet, and she knows it twice. Badass age ranger. Didn't start as dangerous, no stranger to an age ranger. I know her from jolly old England. She's living in Wyoming. And look at that page, folks. Facebook.com/Crystal Addiction. There you go. Contact information right there. Hit her up. She's a sweetheart. Follow her page. You'll love it. Multiple Real Baby of the Day on Beer and Song of the Day. And former guest co-host too, I might add. Love to have you back, Crystal. And then finally, here's another sweetheart. In fact, maybe my good friend Crystal someday will get a photo shoot from this total sweetheart of a lady. Now we've got Felicia Nielsen's photography business, Rosebud Photography, right down here in Yeehaw, Texas, otherwise known as West Louisiana. And just talking to her today, and we really need to get her hooked up. You know, she takes great pictures like our good friend Krista Phillips, an absolute sweetheart. That is some great photography of a great friend of mine. I mean, look at that. That is outstanding photography, an outstanding young lady. Another outstanding young lady. And there we go. Let's go with that. Yep. My camera doesn't do it justice, but Felicia's camera definitely does. My goodness, that is such a cute picture. Come on, look at this photography, folks. Unbelievable how awesome Felicia Nielsen is. Felicia, Rosebud Photography, got to hit them up. Give them a like. Score a photo session as well. Make it happen. Felicia, told you I was going to hook you up, girl. And we got a treat coming up the road for you down the road soon. Oh, yeah. So anyway, screw it. I'm parched. As we play the soundtrack for Shawshank Redemption, here we go. Good, yummy beer consumption apparatus with my initials, JSB. Today's beer of the day, boys, girls, and it's. Purchased this one over at Philo Liquors, that's right. Dogfish Head Burton Baton. Oh, it's been a long time since I've had this here beer. It's an oak-aged Imperial India Pale Ale. Like I said, I'm not normally a big IPA guy, but I do love the Imperial ones a lot. This stuff is 10% alcohol by volume. Double the strength of a normal beer. That is beastly. It's out of Milton, Delaware. Proper opening apparatus, prop technique. Here we go. And it's going to be hard to drink because I am overly stuffed from Golden Corral. Golden Corral. 45 grand right into the beer consumption apparatus right over the keyboard because I'm that damn good. Haven't spilled a drop yet. Never have, never will. Yeah, when you go to a buffet, you get stuffed. Cheers the beers to all of you pros. They say Germany, Kapai, as they say in Japan. It's a lot of different, a whole cornucopia of flavors in this here beer. And this stuff is strong. Big, solid A on this awesome adult beverage. Alright, we got a lot to do for this show. So let's get cracking. Starting off, of course, with the birthdays for today. And we've got a plethora of them. 10 of them. Right off the bat. Oh, before I forget. Sorry. I gotta give a big love Dr. salute to our good friends, Anthony, his better half, Courtney Wright, who are visiting us right down here in Yeehaw, Texas. They're from Northern Texas, aka Oklahoma. Anthony and Courtney Wright. You two, love you so much. Check it out, folks. They just bought me this here hat. That's right. You see what it says. Beer. Okay. Saying that, I thought it was dead, but it's not. It's a little darker. But there's 3 different levels. Look at that, huh? Yeah. Beer. 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 Perfect for beer and song of the day. This hat is epic. Let's drink. Thank you, Anthony and Courtney. We love you very much. You're always welcome back to Casa de Love Goddess anytime. Alright, so our first birthday, milestone birthday to a very dear friend of mine that I know from exotic Japan, that I know from jolly old England. He's living in Ohio. He was living in Nebraska, the cornholer state. A bubble-chasing badass mamma jamma of a man. Milestone birthday goes to my good friend, Brandon Osborne, the Wizard of Oz. Brandon, happy birthday to your brother. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope your wonderful better half Shiner's taking care of you. I'm sure she is. She's a sweetheart. Well, Brandon, you wicked hardcore legit no-bo Broncos fan. Happy milestone birthday to your brother. Hope you have a wicked awesome day. Party hard and enjoy. Celebrate like it's 1969. Minus the acid. Cheers and beers to you. Next on the list. The lovely, amazing, absolutely wicked awesome Marlene Vertok. Marlene, an amazing, amazing lady that I know when I met her in 2012. She is totally méchant genille, French for wicked awesome. You know what I'm saying, eh? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Canada indeed. You gotta get to love to our neighbors up north each and every day on Beer and Song of the Day. Big and E. Well, Marlene, my friend, good hearing from you. Tell Tim hello from me. Tim's her wonderful lesser half, a great man indeed. And Marlene, hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. Next on the list, the wonderful, amazing sister of the ever-famous John Belushi. No kidding, folks. And this lovely sweetheart of a lady has a house on Martha's Vineyard Island, where I'm from. The wonderful, amazing Marion Belushi. Marion, happy birthday to you. How are you? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. And, you know, been a little while since I've heard from you, so I hope to hear from you. So drop me a line. Let me know how you're doing. And I hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. Next on the list, Riot Jones. Fellow mafioso on the old Mafia Wars. Hey, with a name like Riot, he's going to cause a riot as we crush the opposition, because that's what we do on Mafia Wars. Riot, happy birthday to you, and hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Make it a riot, brother. And party hard and enjoy. Yeah, cheers and beers to you, my man. Next on the list, my good friend Jorge Luis Rodriguez. Jorge Luis Rodriguez, another mafioso on the old Mafia Wars. Long-time helper on there, and I appreciate it. We help each other. We get stronger because teamwork makes the dream work. Then we simply crush the opposition. That's right. Well, Jorge, hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. Next on the list. Rachelito! Rachel Miller. An absolute sweetheart, badass crew dog. And I know from exotic Japan. She's living in California, the land of fruits and nuts, otherwise known as Southern Oregon. And Rachel, what's going on, girl? How are you? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. And always great hearing from you. Definitely miss working with you. And I hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. Next on the list, my good friend Nicole Summer. Summer? Yeah, Nicole Summer, dude. I knew her as Nicole Bonifacio growing up. Because I've known Nicole for well over 30 years. See, she lived 2 streets over from us. Lake Street, Vineyard Haven, Massachusetts. That's right, Nicole. Well, Nicole, still looking like the same you did 20 years ago. I don't know what the secret is. Must be the fact that we're from Monsters Vineyard Island, where we never age. Well, Nicole's a fine outstanding graduate of Monsters Vineyard Beach High School class of 1990. And Nicole, happy birthday to you. Squeeze me. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a wicked awesome day, and celebrate well and enjoy. And then cheers and beers to you, my dear. Oh, yeah. Next on the list, my good friend Jeff Holzbauer. Jeff, badass crew dog, I know from jolly old England. And Jeff, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Haven't heard from you in a little while. So, hey, drop me a line, let me know what's going on. Because I definitely miss working with you. And Jeff, I hope you have a wicked awesome day and celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. The old Brooks was here. A sad moment in the movie. Yes, it was. Brooks Hatley. Or Hatlin. Alright, next on the list. My good friend, badass engine repairman, badass leader of men, women, and its that I know from jolly old England. My man, Dave Hudson. Dave Hudson. Calm, cool, and collective. And a big time wicked hardcore, legit no bull Chicago Bears fan. The Bears. The Bears. You know what's funny, Dave? I actually saw a kid, couldn't be more than 10 years old, in Golden Corral wearing a Rex Grossman number 8 Chicago Bears jersey. Unbelievable. I'd be embarrassed to have that crap on my back. Not because it's a Bears jersey, but because it's Train Rex Grossman. But yeah, Dave, definitely miss you, brother. And happy birthday. Hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. And the final birthday of the day goes to an absolute sweetheart of a lady that lives right out here in Deer Valley Estates. Yeah, I know, I live out here with you too. Miranda Barnhill. Miranda, happy birthday to you. How are you? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. And haven't heard from you in a bit. Love to hear from you. So drop me the line. Let me know how life's treating you. Hope your birthday's fantastic. Hope you have a wicked awesome day. Celebrate well and enjoy. Cheers and beers. So there you have it. Lots of birthdays on Beer and Song of the Day. Big and A. Wouldn't have it any other way. Now, I do want to give some love to my dear cousin, Shelly Dunn. Shelly mentioned a very, very special page out there. It's called Gabe to the Rescue. Now, Gabe to the Rescue. That is a page that a Army man set up. Guy that's in the U.S. Army. Active duty. Not only is he serving our country and preserving my freedom to be able to do a show like this for all of you, but he also rescues pets. He pushes to rescue animals and stuff like that. It's amazing. Love it. Charitable thing. He's got over 194,000 likes. Gabe to the Rescue. Shelly, cuz, love you, girl. And hey, I'm going to give you the Love Doctor salute because that is a fantastic idea. fantastic suggestion for rescue animal of the day. Talking to my admins right now. We'll be discussing that one. And I think that we just might do that. So, as long as it doesn't take too much time on the show, but I think it's worth it. You know, every day, you know, you put a message out there for animal that needs to be rescued. I think that's an awesome thing. So, Shelly, love you, cuz. Cheers and beers. Alrighty. Just double checking. Okay. Whew. So we had ourselves a couple trivia questions. And this first one got answered extremely fast. What famous 1940s actress dancer was on the poster of Andy's cell in The Shawshank Redemption? Well, our good friend, Shauna Radusky, big fan of the show and page, and a great friend of mine. Shauna, you said Rita Hayworth. Of course it was. Bam! And then you went on to say you had some great quotes. So I'll read them at this time. I love these movie quotes. You said, I like it when the warden looks at Raquel Welch and says, what say you, fuzzy britches? Or fussy britches, excuse me, fuzzy britches. Oh, God. And then, well, no need to worry about your shoes. I mean, really, how often do you really look at a man's shoes? Great quote right there. And then my personal favorite, and I use this quote myself all the time, because it's so true. Get busy living or get busy dying. Amen to that. Shauna, you, wicked awesome job. It ain't big. Love Dr. Salute to you. Oh, hell yeah. I drink to you, Shauna. You know that movie. Possibly even better than I do. And I've seen the movie about 15 times. Too bad I didn't have a prisoner outfit for this movie, otherwise I'd wear it. But see, I've never been to prison, never been to jail. We went on a field trip to jail one time to check it out. That's the only time I've ever been in a jail. It was on a school field trip. No shit. Alright, so another trivia question we had was, how many years did Ellis Red Redding serve his life sentence in Shawshank Penitentiary? Well, our good friend Jeff Robeson, a badass Wisconsin man and a big-time cheesehead, he said he served 40 years. You got that right, Jeff. Wicked awesome job. It ain't big. Love Dr. Salute to you. Oh, hell yeah. That's right. He served from 1927 to 1967. And oh, he was the only guilty man in Shawshank. He admitted it. He's like, yeah, I killed somebody. Good old Morgan Freeman. Red. Ellis Boyd Redding is what his real name was in the movie. That's right. Known as Red. Because he's Irish. Go figure. Let's drink. So there you go. There's your shout outs for today on Beer and Song of the Day. Big and A. Whew. That beer is strong. Alright, and I got FBS, full belly syndrome. Well, hopefully, now my iPod, I'm getting worried because the battery doesn't last nearly as long as it was for some strange reason. But let's get to our vehicle of the day for today. Remember that scene? That's right, Andy Dufresne, Tim Robbins, driving the Freedom. It is 1969 GTO convertible. Well, what's ironic is, now he escaped Shawshank in 1966. So a little minor boo-boo in the movie with that 1969 Pontiac GTO convertible. But hey, it's all good. You know, I don't think it took 3 years to escape Shawshank. To escape. He would have been caught. So there you go. That's your vehicle of the day on Beer and Song of the Day. Fantastic choice. You know, I think this is the right, this is definitely the right instrument of the day to have. Remember the scene when Andy Dufresne gave Red that harmonica? That's right. Beautiful. Harmonica, your instrument of the day. Red's harmonica for Beer and Song of the Day. Oh yeah, great scene. One of my all-time favorite movies. That was awesome. Wicked awesome. Let's drink. I do want to thank the Kevinator, Kevin Sherman of Kevinator's Booze and Metal Show. Huge help with prepping this show. Absolutely. Dude, need that more often from your brother. The Kevinator. Kevinator's Booze and Metal Show. Folks, you gotta go check it out, okay? You don't even have to be a metalhead to appreciate an awesome show like that. I'm telling you. Whew, alrighty. Well, you know, time to get to our babes and hunks of the day. Let's hit the, sorry. All that food wore me out. I got the energy of a corpse now. So let's go ahead and bring out our first hunk of the day on Baron Song of the Day. Let's go with Tim Robbins, Andy Dufresne. He did an amazing job with this movie, folks. He really did. I liked him a lot in this movie. Remember that scene? Epic. He had just escaped out of the tunnel. He's ripping off his clothes because it was, God, what was it, like a whole half a mile or mile and a half of raw sewage? Ugh. You'll do whatever you can to escape from prison, though, you know? My goodness. Hell, it took 19 years to escape from Shawshank. 1947 to 1966. Yep, Tim Robbins. Hey, we do have a bunch of celebrity birthdays, so let's get cracking. In fact, right off the bat, how about Jennifer Love Hewitt? 36 years old today. Her and her Thunder Jugs. She is gorgeous. You know, I got a gorgeous friend of mine that was born the exact same month, day, and year as Jennifer Love Hewitt. That is truly awesome. Wicked awesome. Movie actresses. Ashley Greene and Ellen Page. Both 28 and looking great. Alan Rickman, actor, 69 years old today. How about Kelsey Grammer? Milestone birthday for Kelsey Grammer, folks. Of Frasier, formerly of Cheers, you know. Frasier was a spinoff of Cheers. Kelsey Grammer, phenomenal show. Phenomenal actor, 60 years old today. And for you, my good friend Justin Dimmitt of Prosper. That's right, one of your favorite actors. And, yep, milestone birthday. Kelsey Grammer was in Star Trek as well. Star Trek Next Generation, I do believe it was. Maybe it was Deep Space Nine. Justin Dimmitt will let me know, though. How about, Blanket Jackson? I don't make that up, folks. Blanket Jackson, otherwise known as Prince Michael Jackson II. The youngest son of Michael Jackson. Blanket. Really? Who needs a kid Blanket? 13 years old today. I do feel sorry for that young man. I really do. And I hope and I pray that he's able to still have a normal life despite having a dad that, wow, had some really, really unique things in his life. You know, it can't be easy to be a child of any kind of celebrity. I really don't think it is. You're already got the odds stacked against you. So yeah, hope for the best for Michael Blanket Jackson. How about Nina Simone? Legendary jazz singer Nina Simone. Born this day 1933, passed away 2003. She had a voice deeper than mine. But a legendary singer nonetheless, and made a lot more money than I do. Empties the brain cells of an average Yankee fan. Good thing I got a cure for that, you know. I was hoping I would only have to drink one on the show. Fat chance. So yeah, let's bring out, because these sunglasses are dark. Oh, of course the percentage ain't on here. Oh yeah, it is. 5%. Normal strength beer. Oh, smutty news. Wunderbar! Pilsner beer. Yeah, it's a Pilsner. 5% normal strength beer out of Hampton, New Hampshire. Excuse me. Smutty nose, good stuff, proper ability, apparatus, proper technique. Here we go. Not a whole lot of energy today, and I apologize for that. 45-degree angle right into the beer consumption apparatus right over the keyboard because I'm that damn good. Haven't spilled drop yet. Never have, never will. Seems like I never have a lot of energy on Cinema Saturday. I don't know why. But it is what it is. And hey, folks, cheers to beers to all of you. Prost, they say Germany, Kapai, as they say in Japan. B, as in good beer. B. Not a big Pilsner guy. That's a good Pilsner right there. Especially from not being from Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic or whatever. The home of the original Pilsner. So yeah, more Tim Robbins, you say, hey? Let's do it. Gorgeous singer. Former Baby of the Day on Beer and Song of the Day. Charlotte Church. She may be having a holy name like Church. And it's funny because my good friend Rachel Miller, her maiden name is Rachel Christ. Christ and Church, it's a holy day, baby. Holy hot diggity dog damn. I love it. But yeah, Charlotte Church is 29 and wicked fine. How about Jeanne Calment? Oh, you ever heard of her? Jeanne Calment? She was the last living person to know Vincent van Gogh. Listen to this, folks. She was born on this day in 1875. Passed away in 1997 at the ripe old age of 122. Now, she said that Vincent van Gogh was a very rude and despicable man. Probably very true. No doubt about that. Jeanne Calment quit smoking at the age of 117. Sadly, that's probably what killed her, was quitting smoking. But Jeanne Calment is the oldest definite, legit, documented person in history. 122 years old. That is amazing. Talk about living a good, long life. Yeah, she did. Robert Mugabe. He is president of Zimbabwe. Still president. And Robert Mugabe is 91 years old today. Folks, that deserves a big look at the salute. Oh, hell yeah. 91. Hey, he's still got to live another 31 more years if he wants to catch up to Jeanne Calment. Just saying. Barbara Jordan, born this day 1936, passed away 1996. Representative from Texas. First African-American woman U.S. senator or something like that. She was representative or senator. First Southern woman, all kinds of stuff since Reconstruction. Yeah, amazing. Talk about a huge advancement in civil rights. The late great Barbara Jordan. Actress Tyne Daly. Tyne Daly is 69 years old today. Dr. Jack Ramsey, former head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, led them to a title in 1977 with Bill Walton. I love that picture, I really do. Dr. Jack Ramsey, we just did a moment of silence for him recently. He was born this day in 1925, passed away late last year at the age of 89. Billy Baldwin, William Baldwin, one of those legendary Baldwin brothers, actor, 52 years old today. Randy Blythe, frontman, leader of Lamb of God. Gah! Lamb of God frontman Randy Blythe is 44 years old today. And finally, a lucky man who got to see Brooke Shields naked. Christopher Atkins, actor Christopher Atkins, is 52 years old today. Now, he was 18, 19 years old when he filmed the movie, and Brooke Shields was like 14, 15 years old. And yeah, they were naked in like most of that movie. So, of course, that was before the child laws were very strict. Yeah, read it. Brooke Shields, Christopher Atkins, interesting movie. Blue Lagoon, 1980. Check it out sometime. Let's drink. Those are your celebrity birthdays on Baron Song of the Day. Big and A. Now, we have so many cool things about this movie. I'm going to get to what I can. I got 8 pages worth. Let's get to our first babe of the day on Beer and Song of the Day. Although they didn't really have any babes in the movie per se, they had 3 famous posters. And we're bringing up the first one. In the 40s, of course, it was that poster, Rita Hayworth. In fact, that's what the movie's all about. Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. Big ass poster that Warden Norton was debatable about allowing Andy Dufresne to show on his wall. But he said, I suppose I can make an exception for that. That poster was obviously very big thing. If those that have seen the movie will know, Shawshank Redemption and these posters were epic. You had in the 40s, Rita Hayworth, 1953, it was Marilyn Monroe, and then around 1966, of course, 1 Million BC, the movie, Raquel Welch, the lovely Raquel. Oh, remember that song? Remember that scene? Andy Dufresne got to do a stint in the hole for that one. Yeah, he did. Oh my God. This soundtrack's going awfully fast. I gotta get cracking. Rita Hayworth. Now, you know, Andy and Red's opening chat in the prison yard in which Red is pitching a baseball actually took 9 hours to shoot. Morgan Freeman pitched that baseball for the entire 9 hours without a word of complaint. He showed up for work the next day with his arm in a sling. Jeez. It's a beautiful song. In the scene with Andy arriving in the library as Brooks' assistant while Brooks' crow Jake is squawking, Tim Robbins had to time his line. Hey Jake, where's Brooks? So that the crow wouldn't squawk over him, since the bird cannot be trained to squawk on cue. Yeah, it ain't a parrot, it's a crow. Robbins was able to adapt to this and time his line perfectly by learning the bird's squawking patterns, for which director Frank Darabont praised him. Robbins' improvisation is noticeable as he watches the bird carefully while approaching it, waiting for it to squawk, and doesn't begin his line until after it does so. That's pretty awesome. Tim Robbins, like I said, did a great job with this movie. He really did. Well, so did Morgan Freeman, and it was Morgan Freeman's favorite film of his own. I don't blame him for that. Stephen King, listen to this. Stephen King sold the film rights for his novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption for $5,000. He never cashed the check. Years after Shawshank came out, the author got the check framed and mailed it back to the director Frank Darabont with a note inscribed, in case you ever need bail money. Love, Steve. Dude, that's cool. Basically, he didn't need the money. That's a colorized version of that famous photo right there. Although a very modest hit in the theaters, it became one of the highest grossing video rentals of all time. Do people rent videos anymore? I don't think they do. Wow. So that might be it'll probably go down as one of the highest grossing ever, and will stay that way. That's a 1941 Georgia license plate. I was looking at that earlier, thinking about how expensive license plates from the South are, old ones. I collect license plates, and yeah, I would love to have that license plate. In her day, I would have loved to have had her, if I was single, of course. Here's something that's really cool. The mug shots of a young-looking Morgan Freeman that are attached to his parole papers are actually pictures of Morgan's younger son, Alfonso Freeman. Alfonso also had a cameo in the movie as a con shouting, fresh fish today. We're reeling them in. Remember that part? That was Morgan Freeman's son. That's really cool. Director Frank Darabont watched Goodfellas every Sunday while shooting Shawshank and drew inspiration from it using voiceover narration and showing the passage of time. Goodfellas. You know how much I love that movie. You've seen me feature that on Beer and Song of the Day. Hell yeah. Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, Paul Newman, and Robert Redford were all considered for the part of Red. In the original novella, Red is a middle-aged Irishman with graying red hair. However, Frank Darabont always had Morgan Freeman in mind for the role because of his authoritative presence, demeanor, and deep voice. Wow. Tom Hanks, Kevin Costner, Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage, Johnny Depp, and Charlie Sheen were all considered for the part of Andy Dufresne. Tom Hanks turned it down because he was committed to Forrest Gump, which was, of course, came out the same year. Now, Costner liked the script a lot, but was then embroiled in the filming of Waterworld. Well, Waterworld in 1995 turned out to be a bust, so maybe Kevin Costner probably regrets not being part of Shawshank Redemption. Who knows? Although it is never directly stated in the film, allegedly Brooks is in prison for murdering his wife and daughter after a losing streak at poker. Ooh, murdering your wife and kid? Brooks Hatlin was one mean dude. James Whitmore. James Whitmore did an amazing job in that movie. And, he went to Shawshank in 1905, got released in 1955, and it was so sad after that because, Morgan Freeman said it best. Institutionalized. You're in there for life, and that's exactly what they take from you. Because when you get released, first, with Shawshank, first you hate it, then you get used to it, then you rely on it. And that's true. That's how Shawshank was. And I'm willing to bet that's how prison is. I don't know. I've never been to prison. And I don't ever want to go to prison. So there. I'm not going to find out. Now, the prison that played Shawshank was the Ohio State Reformatory at Mansfield, Ohio. That prison now serves as a museum because it was scheduled for demolition. At the time of filming, several set pieces remain intact in the prison, including the tunnel that Andy crawled out of and the warden's office. That penitentiary, folks, was opened in 1896 and closed in 1990. We'll talk more about the closing in a bit. Director Frank Darabont decided not to have the deleted scenes on the DVD release of the film because he's embarrassed by them and doesn't want them to be seen publicly. I say forget about it. Show them anyway. Raquel Welch, who's 1 million years BC from 1966 poster, plays a significant role in the film, is a big fan of the finished movie. Yeah, she's a fan of the movie. Awesome stuff. Hey, we talked about Kevin Costner. Well, he turned down the role of Andy Dufresne, like I said, and that was a decision that he strongly regretted later on. Although I think Tim Robbins absolutely nailed the role. So, things happen for a reason sometimes, folks. The film's initial gross was only $18 million. It didn't even cover the cost of its production. It did another $10 million in the wake of its Oscar nominations, but the film was still deemed to be a box office flop. Yeah, but the video rentals and the fact that people still are buying the movie and love the movie, this movie is making money 21 years later now. Because it is an incredible movie. It's hard to believe that movie was a flop at the box office. I think if it was released nowadays, it would not be a flop at all. People would be like, oh yeah, gotta see this movie. Rob Reiner loved Frank Darabont's script so much that he offered $2.5 million for the rights to the script so he could direct it. And we know how good of a director Rob Reiner is. Darabont seriously considered Reiner's offer, but ultimately decided that it was his chance to do something really great by directing the movie himself, and I'm glad he did. Reiner wanted Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise to play Red and Andy respectively. I don't know how that would have worked out. But I'm willing to bet Harrison Ford would have done a pretty good job. But you know what? Morgan Freeman's so incredible. I think everything went perfect. Let's drink to that. Tim Robbins thought of the idea of his character, Andy Dufresne, turning up the volume of the record player in the scene where he plays the opera music over the PA. So Tim Robbins started out on his own. And that was a very compelling scene in the movie. That was huge. That was like one of the rare times that Andy Dufresne defied the warden. You know, pretty amazing. In Stephen King's original story, Red was written as a white Irishman. In the movie, they left the line, "Maybe it's 'cause I'm Irish," in as a joke, even after they had cast Morgan Freeman as Red. Well, let's face it, we know Red is probably the darkest Irishman in history, right? Morgan Freeman, Red, black guy, sure. So yeah, there you go. Well, there's Rita Hayworth. So now we've been talking about Morgan Freeman. I think it's time we bring out the man, Morgan Freeman, one of the most amazing actors of them all. I would have loved to have had that outfit to wear on this show. I really would have. Morgan Freeman, badass, amazing actor. Now he was 56, 57 years old in this movie, and he did an incredible job with it. He really did. You know, after the film gained popularity, Ted Turner sold the television rights to TNT, his own network, for much lower than normal for such a big film, because it is so inexpensive to show. The film is broadcast on TNT extremely often. Shauna Radursky, you were talking about that, how you saw it on TNT and TBS for like a week straight. Now I understand why. But I will say this, I refuse to watch a movie uncensored. I don't believe in censorship. That's the liberal in me. I'm more conservative than liberal as a whole, but I'm very liberal when it comes to censorship. I don't believe in it. I believe in upbringing. You teach your kids what are quote-unquote adult words. And you know, if you yourself are offended by adult language, then put your elbows in the ears or something. Don't listen. Okay? Switch the channel. Change the channel. But folks, don't bitch about it. Don't say, "Oh, that's bad language. Oh my." You know? Alright, enough of that rant. I'm sorry, I just don't. I thought my name was son of a bitch and MFer growing up sometimes, you know? I did, but I knew not to say those words. That's right. Hey, if you say adult language as a kid, you get your mouth washed out with soap. Of course, nowadays they call it abuse. Oh, weak. That's a badass mamma jamma right there. Red, Morgan Freeman, Ellis Boyd Redding. Hell yeah. Stephen King has said that his original novella was a culmination of all the memories he had from watching prison movies when he was a child. Why? Where was the Pam Grier women in prison lesbian flicks, huh? Oh yeah, Stephen King was a young adult by then. Haha. Yeah, sorry, I love those movies. Stephen King sold the rights to the novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption very cheaply out of his friendship with Frank Darabont. They had originally become friends when Darabont adapted a short story of Stephen King's called The Woman in the Room from 1983. King has a policy stating that any aspiring filmmaker can adapt his short stories for a buck. And King was thoroughly impressed. They maintained a pen-pal relationship and didn't actually meet until Darabont optioned Shawshank. That's pretty damn cool. That is awesome to hear. The American Humane Association monitored the filming of scenes involving Brooks's crow. During the scene where he had fed it a maggot, the American Humane Association objected on the grounds that it was cruel to the maggot and required that they use a maggot that had died from natural causes. One was found and the scene was filmed. Oh my freaking God. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, now you know what? Now I'm against cruel and unusual punishment to animals as a whole, but a freaking maggot. Maggots are no good. All maggots are good for is to be destroyed in medical purposes. So, American Humane Association, you get a little GFY, you douchebags. Good Lord. Oh, and maggots stink, by the way, and they're nasty. Ugh. Wow. Yeah. And the maggots turn into flies, and flies are known as pests, and we kill them anyway. So, is the American Humane Association gonna ban all of us that beat the shit out of a fly with a freaking fly swatter? Hey, you know what I call this? I call this a maggot killer. Unbelievable. Sorry, I had to do that rant. God, I hate that stuff like that. Shawshank Redemption was the most rented video in 1995. Unusually, the voice-over narration was recorded before filming began and was then played on set to dictate the rhythm of each scene. That's unique. The guide track was recorded in an Iowa recording studio by Morgan Freeman in only 40 minutes. Unfortunately, there was a minor hiss to the track, which sound engineers in Los Angeles were unable to eradicate. Consequently, it had to be re-recorded in a proper studio. This time it took 3 weeks. Did not know that. Here you go. I talked about it earlier. In the movie, Red says, "I committed murder," when Andy asks him what he's in Shawshank for. The source novella explains in detail. Red is serving 3 life sentences for murdering his wife, his neighbor's wife, and his neighbor's son. Red disconnected the brakes on his car in order to kill his wife to collect on an insurance policy. He did not plan on 2 other people joining his wife for her ill-fated drive. Now, the role of Tommy Williams was intended for Brad Pitt, who instead played the lead role of Interview with a Vampire. The Vampire Chronicles the same year. Now, you know, can't knock him for that one, because that was a pretty successful movie as well. Morgan Freeman with a rare smile. Zanwataneo. That's the place, baby. 1967, when he sees Andy Dufresne. Clancy Brown said that he received several offers from real-life corrections officers to work with him to make his portrayal of Captain Hadley more realistic. He turned them all down because Hadley was an evil character and he didn't want to misrepresent real corrections officers. Okay. While Mansfield's locals were eager to be extras, many weren't available during the day due to their jobs or were only available for one day, which obviously wouldn't work in a prison film. So extras were found at a halfway house, some of them real-life ex-cons. Yeah, well, they knew how to play the role. Look at that. There he is. Alfonso Freeman. Morgan Freeman's son. And there's that harmonica. Beautiful. That's a beautiful scene right there. That's it for Morgan Freeman right there. An amazing actor. An amazing man. Hey! You want amazing? Time to bring out our next baby of the day. And who graced the wall of Shawshank Penitentiary in 1953? The first ever Playboy Playmate in history, Marilyn Monroe. Kids, cover your eyes. And adults, sensitive adults, cover your eyes as well. Because we're going to show some boobies. Marilyn Monroe, December 1953, Playboy Playmate. Oh, baby. Yep. Oh. So let's get some more Marilyn Monroe pictures out there. You know, guess it was a 48-minute soundtrack. I think we're going to have to play some more of that music. I'm just going to let it roll again. You know why? Because it's such a great soundtrack. And I think this movie's going to be this show is going to go another 15 minutes. So I'll just play a few more of the songs again as background music. Marilyn Monroe. Good God. Let's talk more about the movie, shall we? You know I'm going to play those opera ladies again because that was such a critical part of the movie. 1949, I believe that was set. Speaking of 1949, beer bottles didn't have screw tops in 1949. Oops. Now, at the end of the movie, there is a dedication to Alan Green. He was Frank Darabont's agent and also a close personal friend. Or clavage, French for cleavage. Now, he died just before the completion of the movie due to AIDS complications. Very sad. I hope he was able to see it up above. In the close-up of Andy's hands, loading the revolver in opening scenes, the hands are actually those of Frank Darabont. How about that? Later in the film, while Andy carves his name into his cell wall, which was seen twice in the film, Darabont's hands are used again for the insert shot. These close-ups were filmed during post-production, notably because Darabont felt that only he could do exactly what he wanted in the close-ups. Well, he did it well. And hello! Oh, Marilyn Monroe. See, I don't call that nudity, folks. I call that art. I do. I consider that art. I really do. People are too sensitive nowadays. They really are. And that sucks. Good Lord. It's about how I feel, too. Now, one of the reasons why they didn't employ the full title of the Stephen King novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption was because there was a perception in Hollywood that this was actually going to be a biopic of Rita Hayworth. Indeed, Frank Darabont even received solicitations of audition requests from several actresses and supermodels and their agents about playing the lead. So yeah, I guess I can understand that too. In 2007, the American Film Institute ranked this as the number 72 greatest movie of all time. That's saying something. All-time greatest movies in history. It was the first inclusion of this film on the list. The role of Andy Dufresne. Oh, hello. Was originally offered to Tom Hanks, who couldn't accept, obviously, due to Forrest Gump. Hanks, however, did work on Frank Darabont's next film. You know what Frank Darabont's next film was? The Green Mile from 1999, folks. There you go. Frank Darabont, hell of a movie director. Frank Darabont took a pay cut in order to be allowed to shoot his own script. Well, he made it worth it, that's for sure. Despite its box office failure, Warner Brothers shipped 320,000 rental copies to U.S. video stores, a figure a spokesman freely admitted was out of whack with the film's performance in the theaters. Well, thank God they did that, because I'll tell you, who knows what would have happened if they didn't. Frank Darabont wrote the script in 8 weeks. It was voted number 4 on Empire Magazine's 500 Greatest Movies of All Time back in September 2008. Character Andy Dufresne had a cameo appearance in At Pupil, another Stephen King novelette. Andy handled the investments for Dessander, the Nazi in Hiding. Oh, I love that picture. James Whitmore was cast in the part of Brooks because he was one of Frank Darabont's favorite character actors. James Whitmore. Loved him in Twilight Zone episode where he's like got a robot. If you ever seen that Twilight Zone episode, I believe it was an hour-long episode, and he had a robot girl. He was a prisoner, had to be on a planet all by himself. and had a robot, and then eventually they took him from the planet. He fell in love with that robot. Great episode. James Whitmore, phenomenal actor. The man sitting behind Gil Bellows on the bus is Dennis Baker, a former warden of the Ohio State Reformatory where the primary filming took place. Yeah, Gil Bellows, who was played by Tommy Williams. Marilyn Monroe. I could look at her all day. Shawshank Prison is a staple of Stephen King's writing, most of which is set in Maine. Sorry, distraction. While it only appears in this story, several other books and short stories mention characters who were sentenced to serve time in Shawshank. How about that? How about that phone? Shawshank Prison is mentioned in another Stephen King movie, Dolores Claiborne, a year later, 1995. Love that movie. When Dolores, who was played by Kathy Bates, amazing role right there, I will say, yells at her husband that he will do time in Shawshank for inappropriately touching his daughter. They only mention the prison. They don't show the prison. The opera that Andy Dufresne plays over the loudspeakers is Canzonetta Solaria from Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Marriage of Figaro. The final scene was filmed on the U.S. Virgin Islands in the Caribbean, but in the film it's supposed to be the Pacific Ocean. Duh, Mexico. That's right. Marilyn Monroe. Many critics have spotted many allegorical themes in the film, generally along the lines that Andy Dufresne is a latter-day Jesus Christ. Frank Darabont refutes all such claims, although he is delighted that so many people have read so much into his film. Hey, that's kind of cool. Nice buns, hun. Yeah. The original story appears in different seasons, a collection of short books by Stephen King that also includes At Pupil from 1998, The Body, which filmed was The Body we know was a movie in 1986 called Stand By Me, and The Breathing Method. The latter is the only entry which has not been adapted into a film as of 2014. The Breathing Method. At Pupil became a movie in 1998. That's right. Okay, so, aww. The At Pupil story briefly mentions that Andy Dufresne handled the finances of At Pupil's main bad guy, Kurt Dusander, between 1945 and 1947. Of course, he went to Shawshank in 1947, so there you go. Beer bottles, I already talked about that. Screw tops. Red says he has no idea what the ladies in the Marriage of Figaro are singing about. Actually, they're composing a letter to the husband of one of them, inviting him to an assignation with the other in order to expose his infidelity, whatever that means. Okay, assignation. I don't even know what that word means. Screw it. Let's talk about those ladies again, shall we? Where are they? There we go. Love this song. Oh, baby. You know, this was voted the #1 must-see movie of all time by listeners of Capital FM in London, England. How about that? Now, initially, Frank Darabont initially, booby. He was planning to make his directorial debut with a Child's Play in 1988 type of horror movie. Although he wasn't particularly enthusiastic about the prospect of doing so. Instead, he decided to adapt Stephen King's atypical short story. The resulting script soon became a hot ticket around Hollywood, attracting interest from stars like Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise. The Shawshank Prison in the movie in the book was loosely based on Thomaston Prison, an aging prison located in Thomaston, Maine. That real-life prison closed in 2004 due to its small size and dilapidated structure. Among the changes that Frank Darabont made to the story from the original novella was that there were originally 3 wardens, and that Brooks's poignant story was conveyed in one paragraph. Now, the name of Andy Dufresne's wife is Linda Collins. Linda Collins Dufresne. In the movie, she wasn't identified at all. Oh my God, I got 4 more pages worth of notes. I better get cracking. It's gonna be a long movie, folks. Long show. Well over an hour. Exteriors were filmed at defunct Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio, as I mentioned. The prison was in such poor condition, renovations had to be made prior to filming. However, most of the interiors were shot on a soundstage because they determined it would be cheaper to build duplicates of the interiors rather than renovating the interiors of Mansfield. Wow. Every picture except for the big posters in Andy's cell were all hand-picked by actor Tim Robbins himself. Pretty cool. Since filming schedule was very tight in Mansfield, Ohio, anyone who held up production time were threatened to be fined. Both Tim Robbins and William Sadler showed up late once, but were never fined. Filming in Mansfield, Ohio finished ahead of schedule. Oh yeah. The prison is located in the flight path of a C-130 Hercules aircraft, Air Force stuff, of the 179th Airlift Wing, Ohio Air National Guard. It caused all sorts of sound problems. I could see that. Airplane flying over? Yeah, that'll make some noise. Ah, lift weights there, Marilyn Monroe. Good God. Now, on the wall of in Andy Dufresne's cell is a picture of Albert Einstein. Tim Robbins, who portrayed Andy Dufresne, also played in the fictional movie about Einstein, IQ, which was also from 1994. Well, hey, let's get to the final hunk of the day on Beer and Song of the Day. Oh, remember the guy Warden Samuel Norton? That's right, Bob Gunton. Gunton. The first 3 letters of his last name are Gun, and he's got it in his hand. Warden Norton. Remember that? 1966? Shocking. Dug a hole with a hammer. A rock hammer. 19 years. Now, the city of Mansfield, Ohio held all-day open auditions for extras. So much interest was shown that they accepted no more people after 3 p.m. The Rita Hayworth movie The Prisoners are watching is Gilda from 1946. Clancy Brown, who plays Captain Hadley in the film, played another character named Captain Hadley in The Guardian from 2006. Warden Norton whistles Martin Luther's signature hymn, Ein fest Berg ist unser Gott, whatever that means in German, or a mighty fortress is our God. The prisoners are drinking Stroh's beer on the roof. If I can get a hold of Stroh's beer, I'd be drinking it on the show. Stephen King optioned the story, Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, to Frank Darabont for $1,000. The original story appears in Stephen King's book Different Seasons. Both Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman won Best Supporting Actor Oscars for films directed by Clint Eastwood. Robbins won for Mystic River in 2003, and Morgan Freeman for $1 Million Baby in 2005. When Andy first gets reassigned to a prison library, the first officer who comes to him for investment help approaches him by saying, I'm Deakins. Roger Deakins was the cinematographer for the movie. While this is the case, Frank Darabont wrote the character Deakins into the original script before he hired his crew, as the same character was in the novella, and the different way of spelling confirms this. Now, the green grass outside the Shawshank prison walls represents hope. Andy Dufresne's prison ID number is 37927. The Trailways coach in the last scene is a GM PD 4104 built in 1960 and delivered to the Carolina Scenic Trailways. The late John Hobain, the owner of Blue Ridge Trailways, found and restored it around 1990. It's now a property of the Capitol Trailways based in Montgomery, Alabama, otherwise known as Eastern Mississippi. On Andy's first night at Shawshank, there is a shot of the prison from outside. Okay? The shot is from right near the creek which Andy runs through when he escapes 19 years later. Frogs in the creek can also be heard. Both Clancy Brown and Mark Rolston have voiced the character of Lex Luthor in various DC animated universe projects. Of course, Clancy Brown is Captain Hadley, and Mark Rolston is Boggs Diamond. Some director's trademark. Frank Darabont, old movie clips, the inmates, of course, watching Gilda. In the novella, the prisoners watched The Lost Weekend, Billy Wilder movie. Because the rights to this were owned by a different studio, Darabont looked to see which old films he could show without incurring costs. He was delighted to see that one that he was able to use was Gilda, which was one of the greatest hits of Rita Hayworth, who obviously her image plays a pivotal role in the movie. Shawshank Redemption. Haywood Floyd, another trademark. Haywood and Floyd are the names of two Shawshank inmates. Haywood Floyd is a space explorer in books and movies written by Arthur Conan Doyle, including 2001: A Space Odyssey and 2010, from 1968 and 1985, respectively. Now, Red says that Andy broke out in 1966. That was the same year as the landmark Miranda versus Arizona case before the Supreme Court, where it was decided that a defendant must be informed of their rights. In other words, right to remain silent, right to an attorney, all that good stuff, when put under police custody. That's why at the end of the film, when they arrest Captain Hadley, the officer is reading the Miranda rights from a piece of paper. Well, hey, it was brand new, so they didn't have them memorized yet, right? Makes sense to me. Good realism on that part. Speaking of realism, let's bring out the really awesome natural beauty. Ugh. Final baby of the day. Good God. Raquel Welch. Oh yeah. The lovely Raquel. You know, for the sewage tunnel sequence, Tim Robbins initially refused to immerse himself in the muddy water at the end of the pipe, after a chemist tested the water and dubbed it lethal. Can you blame him? I don't blame him either. The word lethal and putting it in on your body or in your body, there's the picture. Oh yeah. I wouldn't do it either. Frank Darabont preferred to end the film with Red searching for Andy. In fact, if he had been allowed to shoot the ending as he wanted, the closing shot would have been Red on the bus heading for the field. Darabont wanted to end on an open, ambiguous note, but Castle Rock Entertainment insisted on a reunion between the two to please audiences. Yeah, I'd have been kind of pissed if the movie ended, wondering if they met back up. I'll admit it. So I like the ending the way it was. So instead of showing us a teary reunion, the film observes it from a distance. Darabont's response to Castle Rock's demands. Well, we know they met up, so I'm sure there were people that cried tears of joy anyway. Hell, I got goosebumps when Morgan Freeman smiled on the beach because I knew they were meeting up. Very cool stuff. Yep, I'll drink to that. I think they did it right, folks. I really do. I really can't think of a whole lot of mistakes in this movie. You know, the $370,000 that Andy stole from the warden in 1966 may not seem a huge amount for 20 years incarceration, but adjusted for 2014 inflation, Andy stole the equivalent of $2,703,466.67. Yowza. When the warden flips through Andy's Bibles after his escape, he finds the cutout space where Andy's digging tool was hidden, starting in the book of Exodus, which tells the story of Hebrew slaves escaping from Egypt. Exodus literally means to escape or depart. Makes sense. And I've known that for over 35 years. I knew it when I was a little kid. Exodus. Well, about 30 years, a little over 30 years, since 1982. Now, the rock wall where Red's treasure is buried was built specifically for the film. Did not know that. And stood for many years. It was built by hand by the art department months before filming began. This allowed for the alfalfa grass to grow to make it look weathered. Eventually, the rock was sold on eBay. Or the wall was sold on eBay. That whole wall was sold on eBay? Huh. One rock at a time by the farmer who owned the land it stood on. The tree at the end of the wall stood until it was cleaved in two by a lightning strike in 2011. A portion of it now stands propped up by the pond on the grounds of the Ohio State Reformatory. Folks, I honestly thought that was filmed in Maine and that was legit. Because we got a lot of rock walls back home in Massachusetts that do look like that. I would have never guessed that until just reading this just now. See, I learned from doing my own cinema Saturday as well, folks. I do. The ambulance that took Boggs away had to be pushed as its engine had died. Now, Red describes Andy's dream as a shitty pipe dream. How ironic is that? During his escape to live that dream, Andy crawls through the sewer pipe of the prison. Literally, a shitty pipe. Well, there you go. I think it was nearly a mile now I think of it. Andy and Red escaped to Zihuatanejo, a Mexican paradise in the Pacific coastal state of Guerrero. In 1966, there was actually still a small fishing village, which matches how Andy first described it to Red, but has since grown into a large tourist city. The U.S. Virgin Islands stand in for Zihuatanejo in the film. There are only 2 women with speaking roles in the entire movie. America, damn right. The customer who complains about Brooks' service at the grocery store, and the lady who attends to Andy at the bank following his escape. That's something to think about, folks. Author trademark again? Lots of them with Stephen King. The number 237. After Andy has escaped, the warden wants them to question Red. When they call to open Red's cell, they shout, "Open 237!" This is the same number as the room in the movie The Shining from 1980 with Jack Nicholson. And the amount of change, $2.37, the 4 boys in the movie Stand By Me from 1986 collect between them. There are also several similarities to the Alexandre Dumas Pear novel, The Count of Monte Cristo, which is also mentioned in the film. Remember Alexander Dumbass? Yeah. The Dumas novel involved a man falsely imprisoned for a crime who later makes a daring escape. After escaping, he acquires hidden treasure, which he learned about in jail, and executed a plan. of revenge against those who imprisoned him. Gee, sounds like Andy Dufresne to me. Buxton, where Andy says he proposed to his wife and buried the treasure for Red. Under the Tree is a real-life small town in Maine, no surprise there. Population is 7,452 as of the year 2000. It's about 15 miles west of Maine's largest city of Portland, where Andy was a banker. In 2007, 2 inmates of Union County Prison escaped from their prison using similar techniques to those featured in the movie. Wow. Their partially successful escape led to the suicide of prison guard Rudolf Zurich. When the 2 convicts were recaptured, they denied responsibility for Zurich's death. Well, I guess I would deny it too, because, well, you know, dude killed himself. Granted, he probably wouldn't have killed himself if it wasn't for that, but it is what it is. The film is generally faithful to the Stephen King novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, but here's some of the differences. The novella specifies that Andy smuggled $100 in the prison in his rectum, aka booty hole. Alright? Exactly how he pays Red the agreed upon price of $10 for the rock hammer is never made clear in the film. We probably don't want to know either. Andy orders a second rock hammer for Red in the book after the first wears down. This does not occur in the film. No, it doesn't. I don't think it was necessary. In addition to Red being a white Irishman, the novella also gives details of his crime that the film doesn't. In the film, Hadley and his guards beat up Boggs as a favor to Andy for all his financial tips. In the novella, Andy uses the money he smuggled in the prison to pay thugs to do it. Ah, I see. Tommy's story is slightly different. He tells Andy that his old cellmate bragged that the double murder he committed was pinned on a lawyer rather than a banker. And Andy latches onto the idea that the 2 professions were commonly confused at that time. Yeah, they were. Lawyer, banker, both professional bullshitters. I get it. Tommy is also not killed in the novella after agreeing not to testify on Andy's behalf. He is sent to another prison. The ending received perhaps the most significant changes. When Red is released from Shawshank Prison, he finds a package Andy left for him in the hayfield. In the film, he simply goes directly to it, while in the novella, his hunt for the appropriate hayfield is a fairly substantial piece of the plot. Yes, it was. It was pretty impressive. The final scene of Andy sanding a boat on the beach as Red meets him again is not present in the novella. That ends with Red on his way south to meet Andy. The matter of which they found each other again left ambiguous. That is true. Like I said, I've read the novella, and they never did say that they reunited. We just knew that he was on the way to do it, which I'm sure he would have, right? The candy tin with the money and letter that Andy buries features a picture of the ocean liner, the Queen Mary. Again, I love that picture. It was issued in the 1950s as part of a series by a British company called Benson's. When Andy and Red are talking in the library about how the money that the Warren scams is laundered. Oops, sorry, I just realized. Oops. Andy mentions second cousin to Harvey the Rabbit. That's a reference to the 1950 movie Harvey, a 6'3" imaginary rabbit who could only be seen by the main character Elwood P. Dowd, which was played by 6'3" actor James Stewart. Actually, I think James Stewart was 6'4". He was either 6'3" or 6'4". He was tall. When Ward Norton opens his wall safe near the end of the film and he opens Andy's Bible, the bookmarked ribbon is on the first page of the book of Exodus, which we know tells about the story about the Jews' escape from Egypt. Exodus is also where Andy began cutting out the pages to hide his rock hammer during spot inspections. The beach set reunion at the end was shot at the studio's insistence. We talked about that. Castle Rock. Oh my God. The headline on Norton's newspaper after Andy's escape read, "Corruption, Murder at Shawshank, DA has ledger, indictment sought. Remember that? Shauna Verdusky, I know you remember that. Oh my, I'll remember that. The body count in the movie was 6. 2 of them which were unseen. In an earlier draft of the script, it is Rita Hayworth's poster that escapes instead of Andy at the end of the film. Well, that's kind of weird. Test audiences found this too confusing and the ending was dropped. So Andy wouldn't have escaped? I don't get that one. There are only 2 female speaking parts. I already talked about that. The woman that pesters Brooks at the foodway. And, of course, the bank receptionist that served Andy towards the end of the film. And at the end of the movie, I already talked about this earlier, we see Andy driving a Pontiac convertible. That's right, Pontiac GTO. The Escape was in 1966, and the used was a later model. 1968 to 1970, they say. Well, did some research. 1969, GTO convertible. For 1966. Well, anyway, so it is what it is. There's all your movie facts and stuff. All you ever wanted to know about Shawshank, the Shawshank Redemption. My God, what a long show. It's the longest show I've recorded in a long time. Let's slam this home, will we? Empty as the brain cells of an average Montreal Canadiens fan, eh? Damn right. Well, shoot. We're just about done. Well, folks, you know what time it is, right? Damn right. Reverend Dr. B. We drool over Raquel Welch with Bob Hoop. Folks, it's time to make like a fetus and head out. Oh, I love that poster. So everybody take care. Have a wicked awesome night and day. Peace be the journey. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't drink and drive. You might spill your drink, or you might kill yourself, or somebody else. Screaming. And drinking and driving is done to being the Yanks fan. What's dumber than that? Is rooting for douchebag cocksuckers like Eli. I'm a good Tom Brady. Yeah? Alright, if you say so. You dumb schlepper. Manning! Or man slapping women, or animal abuse, or racism, or people to watch on bets, or fake friends, or anybody that supports the fans or is a member of the Westboro Baptist Church. Things like that are just plain stupid and definitely deserve a big fat GFY. Folks, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow, which what I'm hoping will be a lot shorter show. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Beer. Thank you, Anthony and Courtney.